Good evening and welcome. I'm Bob Pace, your host, and here we are to talk about how to fight CPS and stop taking our children. That's our number one goal, is to take your child, whether they're in imminent danger or not. And I'm sorry to say, uh, that is hard. That is so hard. I want to welcome everybody. This is an interactive podcast, meaning that you can make comments, you can call in, you can be a guest on the podcast. So I want to thank all my followers that have come here and so forth. Let me see here. Okay. So I'd like to go over some particulars of how the interactive room. The first one is you can call in at 626-698-0990. And you can speak live on my office phone. My phone is on that office number between the hours of 10 to 11 in the morning and 7 to 8 of the night. And that's all Pacific Standard Time. So you can call in at 626-698-0990. I'll answer the phone and you can be put on live and you can answer your questions and so forth. So that's one way that you can be on the involved in the podcast. Another way is to text your comments. Now, some of you that have found me on Facebook, Fight CPS. I am broadcast on YouTube. I'm using the StreamYard application, and they have a comment there. So if you want to make a comment, that's great. It's about CPS. You should always involve CPS question. And you should show your name, city, state, or country, and be complete with your CPS case. What I mean by that is if you have two fathers, one father, or one mother, two mothers, where you have 3 or 4 children, make sure you include all that so I don't have to keep going like a ping pong ball asking questions. And start from the beginning when the allegations first happened. There's multiple allegations. It'll take a little bit of time, but that's okay because I want to help you. I am here to help you. I care about every one of individual of you guys. I'm a loving father, a husband. I take care of my family. I have 6 children, and I've been in the same situation you've been in. I fought CPS, and I've been fighting for over 15 years. And I talk since October on this podcast every day, twice a day, 7 days a week. And it's Monday through Sunday, twice a day. On Sunday, I'm on early at 8 a.m. in the morning. That's the only exception to the rule. But anyway, I'm here to help you. I'm not a lawyer, but I have lots of experience talking to people and learning what CPS really is and being my own experience can relate to you. People have tried some of the things I said, and they've come back and said it worked. I got my kids back. So I must be doing something. I must be doing something here right. So, and I say type in your state or country. Well, we do have people from other countries that have a CPS problem too. And I've had Australia and Canada, United Kingdom, Ghana in South America above Brazil. And I've had Mexico. And then I've had Mozambique on the east coast of Africa, across from Madagascar, above South Africa, and Denmark. And then lastly, I've been having lately Liberia. And that's on the west coast of Africa. It's a small country, and a guy named Archie, who's a scout leader, and he's very wants to talk on the show, be a guest, and he's going to contact my show producer and try to be on there. So speaking of that, we need to talk about how to be a guest on my show. To schedule as our guest, all you have to do is email our show producer, Grace. Grace is a very remarkable woman who helps me do this podcast and keeps me in line. And she's the one that'll tell you how to get onto the podcast and help you out and tell you the ground rules and so forth. But you can be a guest on the podcast to talk about your CPS case and help others and participate. I all I ask you to do is the email Grace. Now, to schedule an appointment, all you do is email Grace at vincentwdavis.com. That's Grace at vincentwdavis.com. And you email her, and she'll gladly put you on and talk about that. So we are live, and we have some people in the room here. First, I want to welcome Lori Hiller, who always types in William Muller, and I don't know if that's her lost son, but she's been coming regularly and listening. Then there's a new person tonight. It's John Doe. And it's good to know Donald Trump helps parents with CPS cases. Well, I didn't know that. I'm not Donald Trump. I don't know what you refer by that. But anyway, glad to have you, John. I don't know what city or state you're from. And if you have a CPS question, please ask. We're here to talk about CPS. We're trying to keep the politics out there. Rologini Natalia, she's from West Hollywood. I know where she's from, and she's on my show all the time. And she's so wonderful. I'm sorry that Danielle isn't on, Natalia. She has computer problems. She's trying to get a new computer. And so I appreciate the kind words you're telling me. But I missed you. I haven't seen you the last couple of shows here. But I'm glad you're back. And if you want to call in, all of you, if you want to call in, you can feel free to do so. And or you can text in a comment. I'll try to help you, or you can schedule an appointment. Those are the three ways to participate. And I want to welcome you all. And there are basically three rules I talk about for some of you never heard them before. But rule 1 is how to find an attorney. Rule 2 is how to keep your paperwork in line. And rule 3 is not to talk to social workers or let them take your kids. And we talk about trafficking, medical trafficking. There's several kinds of trafficking going on. If you haven't realized that the social service arm, which is the child protection system, and has different names in different states and so forth, is the one that's trafficking our children. They traffic mine, and they put them right in foster care. They don't care if the children are not in imminent danger. They take them right away. And that is sad because they shouldn't be doing that. So those are the three rules that I'll talk about. Plus, there's other platforms I like to talk about. ICWA, the Indian Child Welfare Act, the 3-8 motion where you can get before the judge again with new evidence and new information and so forth. I'll talk about any topic you bring up that you want an answer on. I'll look it up. I have right now 85 tabs opened up that people have talked to me about. We can talk about CPC, which is an interstate agency that transports children that are in special needs and need special things that one state may not have another one. So we can talk about that. We can talk about the history of CPS. It goes back to the 1600s in colonial days all the way to the present, and they're divided into 3 parts. But I want you right now, Happy Feet, I haven't seen you in a while. Okay, you're still going through your ICWA. I hope you are registered with your tribe or getting registered, and I hope that your kids are turned over to the Indian family who will better take care of your kids. And I'm glad you're back. So we got a full house of people in here. This is great. I hope you all had a great time yesterday on Father's Day. I hope you're with your dad or your children with their dad. Dads are important, and so are moms. And I really encourage all your dads, moms, because the best children or the best parents to be with children are the biological. It's been studied time and time again that the biological parents are the best parents to take care of your children. And the parents need a dad. They need a mom. And all you dads, please take care of your children. You know, you got to help out the mom. I know you guys got together because there was some connection, but a lot of you sometimes leave and the mom is stranded and she bees the mom and the dad to the kids. So I'm telling you that the parents, they're the key. And we should do family reunification. You know, we have this thing that says CPS, Child Protection System, is supposed to protect the children under 18 from neglect or abuse and do family reunification. But instead, the people that are doing the abuse are doing the trafficking are the CPS social workers. And I'll tell you, it's a money making business. They get about $80 million from the government, from the state. It comes via the state, but it's shipped from the government. And that is, like in my case, in the Orange County area, it's $20,000 per kid. LA is 15, Washington's 8,000. So it varies from place to place. But they get that money per child per month. And so that's a lot of money. That's in addition to money they get for their salary, for their place, and for all the additional activities that they do. So it's an $80 billion business, and it's more money than what we're giving to Ukraine. And it's really, 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 really bad. Okay, maternal grandparents, good to hear. Happy feet. We did follow your advice, and we're now able to have maternal grandparents supervise visits. Oh, that is so great. Happy feet. I'm glad that. We have a new person. I don't know. JAH. Amen. Well, amen to you and welcome. And I like you all. Some of you, I don't know where you're from. Natalie, I know where you're from, but JH, I don't know. Happy feet, I forgot. And yeah, we can talk about the pink ladies. I mean, anytime. What about Riverside County CPS? Ah, so JH is from Riverside, California. Glad to have you, JH. And I'd like to talk to you about your case. Now, you'll find that CPS is very, very corrupt. And I just want you all to think about it. My co host Daniel has a picture of these professional social workers that decided to be smart in Prescott, Arizona in the year 2022. 8 of them made pink t shirts, and on the front they stenciled professional kidnappers. And on the back, they put, "Do you know where your children are?" With those two statements parading around in department stores and so forth, they got fired right away because that's wrong. That's the attitude of your social workers. Parading around saying we're professional kidnappers and do you know where your children are? Look it up, 2022, the pink ladies. Anyway, they were fired. 25 years of social work went out the window. And they left them with only one social worker, a guy. They handle that. So if you need a job, go to Prescott, Arizona and apply. And they call their CPS, they call it the DCS, Department of Children's Services, DCS. Every state has different acronyms. I'm talking about the child protection system when I say CPS. In California, it's a child protection service. And so when I say CPS, I mean the child protection system. So it applies to all 50 states and around the world. So CPS is synonymous with that. And so JH said something more. He's from Gilbert, Arizona. Well, I'm glad you're not from Prescott, Arizona. And that could be bad. Nadju, Riverside County has unique court design. I don't know. I've never seen the Riverside County court. They stole my son for foster care money, though I am going to sue them. Well, you first have to finish your case with them. If your case is still open, you can't sue. If you're going to sue them, you got to get an attorney that will fight them. Now, luckily, you're in San Bernardino County, and I have an attorney here, Vincent Davis, who has sued CPS, and you need to talk to him. Happy Feet says, I remember sharing your story here. That's right, you did. The Arizona DCS workers still today act like they're here and make comments regularly like kidnapping your children, and they'll laugh at you. I'm so sorry to hear that. I'm so sorry to hear that. So Happy Feet from Arizona. And AJH says, and I'm getting back. I know you all are angry parents, but you got to be professional and don't be like them. These social workers are not transparent. They're liars. They do revenge. They cheat. They steal. They alienate, which is against the law. They do trafficking, and they try to lose your kids in the foster care system. Now, the foster care system is either a shelter, a group home, or a single family home. And so far, most of the foster care I've heard are bad news. They're supposed to go through training, and they're a separate entity from CPS. And I know your son will be home soon. I'm glad to hear that, JH. JH is from San Bernardino County. Happy Feet's from Arizona. Natalie is from West Hollywood. And who else we got in here? We have, let me see, we have lots of people here. We have John Doe, which I don't know where you're from, but love to hear from you, and Lori Hiller. So welcome you all. Now, let me tell you about another scenario. I talked about the pink ladies, but there's a social worker that I thought was really funny. And she was she's from Chicago, Illinois. And on her Facebook page, she posted an ad. It said, "Black children for sale." And this is an ad from 1848. She found it, and put it on her Facebook page. That's wrong. That is totally wrong. Yes, we had the Civil War back then, and slavery was part of the Civil War. But for her today, in 2024, to put up an ad, "Black children wanted," is terrible. That's their attitude. Now, Lee James says, much love and prayers to all. Kill them with kindness. Don't become their friends. Make sure they go through your lawyer. Don't talk to them as we are any conversation. Have your attorney present at all times with interactions, even by phone. If anything other than hi and then bye. Yes, no answers. That's my rule number 3. Yes and no answers, and don't talk to them. Now we have a new person, Lee James. Do you know where your kids are? Like, that's just wrong. And that's professional kidnappers. Go look it up. 2024, the Pink Ladies from Prescott, Arizona. Yep, that's right. And I don't know where you're from, Lee, but it'd be great that you tell me that. I'd love to find out where you're from. JH is from San Bernardino County. Natalie is from West Hollywood. Happy Feet is from Arizona. And so I'm glad for all the comments. If anybody has a question, be great. Oh, you're from Pennsylvania. Okay, the Pocono Mountains. All right. Glad to have Lee from the Pocono Mountains in Pennsylvania. I've had several people from Pennsylvania with cases, so I'm glad to have you in the room. Now, since anyone doesn't have really any questions right now or doesn't want to call in, and I have no thing here, I'll talk about our rules. Rule number one is you have to get an attorney. And I know a lot of you say I can't afford an attorney, but you're going to have to get an attorney. And there is a way you can get an attorney that won't cost. It's called a pro bono attorney. And you have to go through a lot of work to find one. But there are attorneys that are good people that will fight your case and not take money from you. They want to help you. And you have to search your area. The first thing you need to do is you need to have your words written. So listen carefully. You have to have the order of the words. So find in, and I'm going to use Georgia as an example, find in Athens and Atlantic City, Georgia. Now, the reason why I'm using two cities is because Athens is a small town and won't have many, dependency attorneys. So I bootstrapped Atlanta, Georgia. So it's fine in Athens and Atlanta, Georgia, a pro bono, a family dependency attorney, a family dependency attorney. That's the area of the field you're in. You're in dependency law. And you want a family one, someone that can work with you juvenile too. And you also want someone in CPS that's fought child protection services. And you can look there and a bunch of names will apply. So you want to go through them and pick your 10 best ones that look the best to talk to. And you're going to call all 10. The reason why you're calling them is one, you want to find out if they're still in business, if they answer the phone. Two, you want to ask them some questions like, are you a pro bono? Do you have pro bono attorneys at your law firm? So if the answer is yes, you ask them another question. You ask them, are any of the attorneys fought in dependency courts against the child protection system? Have they fought against CPS? Are they experienced enough in dependency law, family dependency law? If the answer is yes, you go on, and then you want to do the icing on the cake and ask them, have they ever sued CPS? Has their attorneys ever sued CPS? Reason why you ask that, because if the answer is yes, you got a good law firm. Most people won't sue CPS because it is a lot of work and a lot of money. But you can't sue them until your case is over. You cannot have an open case and try to sue them. And you can really only sue against if your constitutional or civil rights were violated. And I have a lawsuit. I wish I could afford it. But my social worker lied underneath oath. And we caught her with a really big lie. But you're in a very hard area because these social workers are going to trap you like a spider with a fly. They're going to do a web around you that won't get out. You know, they're not accountable for the money that they make. Right now in Richmond, Kentucky, one of the people have told me that they have $900,000 unaccounted for. Almost $1 million. Can you believe that? They don't know what they spent the money on. Someone stole the money. And there's the news. There's a social worker. I forgot what state she's from, but she embezzled funds too. But they still have her working in social work. I cannot believe, how things are in the social work world. But that's them. That's why you need to get an attorney. So here you are, fine in Athens and Atlanta, Georgia, a pro bono family dependency attorney. And now you're making all the calls. And after you made those 10 calls, what I want you to do is I want you to narrow that list down to the 4 best ones you like to get. And then I want you to add to that list Vincent W. Davis. He's the one that puts on this podcast, and he has 35 years of experience fighting CPS. He's done civil lawsuits both at the state level and at the federal level. And he has fought and gotten children back. He's a fighter. What you need is a fighter. He knows it well. He's 35 years experience in dependency law. and he has a nice big law firm, and he does want to fight for your case. So all you need to do is call in 888-888-6582. Tell them that Bob Pace sent you, and then when you speak to Mr. Davis after you make your appointment, tell Mr. Davis that Bob Pace sent you. And if you don't want to call in, you can also go to his calendar. And so you go to Candely, CANDELY.com / the law office of VWD / Bob Pace. That's scrolling at the bottom. Candely, CANDENDLY.com / law office of VWD / Bob Pace. So it repeats over and over and over again. So, when you got those 4 attorneys you think are great from the list of 10, and you add Vincent Davis to it, Vincent will do a consultation for you for $60 for 30 minutes. $60 for 30 minutes. And he will talk to you. He'll talk about the strategies of how to fight CPS and get your children back. He'll give you a full 35 minutes. Also, if you want to hire him, you can talk to him about it. His fees, his retainer, depends on how complex your case and how far along it is. Also, if you're out of state, you need money for per diem, meaning that you need money for airfare, for car rental, and hotel accommodations. So that's how you're going to find an attorney, because after you talk to Vincent Davis, I'm sure you're going to want him. And if not, I'm pretty sure the other 4 attorneys you talk to will work out great. But that's how you get an attorney. It takes a lot of work, takes a lot of phone calls. But don't waste time with court-appointed attorneys. And don't try to fight it yourself. I tried to, and that was wrong. I wasted my time and money and everything else. So after you talk to him, you're going to love him. He's friendly, has a podcast, you can hear him, and he will get your kids back. He is determined to do so. So he's well worth the $60 consultation fee and so forth. If the other 4 attorneys work out better, especially if they're pro bono, then you may want to go with them. The chemistry may be right. I don't know. But anyway, that's really, really, really good. Now we have a new person, Danny Ebielin. Can we, people demanding the CPS, DSS, social workers, DFS, etc., be reputable and moral, create a union to work in their offices? Is there a percentage of bad social CPS workers to make headway with demand? Can they be brought to be accountable in court? Well, 99% of the social workers are corrupt. So if that tells you anything, Danny, you got a long ahead of you there. I don't know what city or state you're from. That'd be great if you could tell me there. Lee, James, they have qualified immunity they get away with all the time, and then some no accountability at all. I agree with you, Lee. I agree with you wholeheartedly. She further says, if the reality or experience in that field, nobody wants to sue CPS here, and you can have open cases, you're right, and you can't sue the social workers. It has to be the whole entity in itself. Yeah, that's true. And I'm telling you, Vincent Davis has sued and has won millions of dollars against social services. Good point, Lee. You want to ask the attorneys how many cases they've had underneath their belt. That's a good point. I'm glad that you gave that input. Now, Lee says they don't have a pro bono. I searched over 300 attorneys. Wow. And no one in my area wanted to do it. And it's a small time, so one mainly family law attorney, and I got paid one, but been fighting 29 months, and almost independency attorney as well. Okay, Lee, what city and state you are, and I could try to find you some pro bono attorneys. What city and state, you know. Now, Happy Feet has a question. I haven't seen your question yet. What is your question, Happy Feet? Okay. My court appointed attorney, Happy Feet saying, did not show up to court, and they still went on with the court proceedings. My spouse's attorney said that she could step in for my attorney if that's allowed. You know, if you have a court appointed attorney, you have to fire them to do pro se. Also, your wife could, if she's not part of the case, could be your attorney, but there's a conflict of interest. So I don't think your wife can be the attorney there. And if your court attorney did not show, then you can have them disbar. You can file a complaint with the bar about them. No, they're not helping. The court appointed attorneys are a waste of time. They are. JH says, I'm pretty sure they're not helping my children or family. They sell and eat the children. Yeah, I know that. They want to do that. So I wanted my attorney here. I don't know. Well, Natalie, I don't think his wife could be his attorney because if the case involves the children and he's the father of the children, he's too personally involved in the case. So he can't be, even people that are lawyers that are caught up in the CPS they can't do their own defense. So anyway, oh yeah, there's a conflict of interest where a judge and attorney are married. Yep. There really is. You got to be careful about all this. Peggy Dupree, I need a pro bono attorney in Florida. All right. What city in Florida do you live? And your child has special needs. You're not resident of Florida. That is no problem. You can still get an attorney in Florida. If the case is in Florida, I don't know where the case is. But if the case is in Florida, Peggy, I can help you out there. Retain McCain, I'm in Tennessee and desperately need a pro bono attorney that will actually advocate and help me. Well, I like to help you, Brittany, in Tennessee. What city are you in Tennessee? Is it a big city? Is it Tallahassee, Tennessee? I don't know what city you're in, Tennessee, Brittany. Happy Feet says, it was my spouse's court supported attorney trying to be my attorney. My spouse is not a lawyer. Well, her court appointed attorney can't help you. You each have to have your own separate attorney. Okay, Brittany McCain is from Jacksonville, Tennessee. And is that a big city, or is there a big city next to Jacksonville? Is there a bigger city? Brittany, I'm trying to help you if you tell me if there's a bigger city there. Okay. I found one. Um, I found a bunch of them there. Jacksonville's pretty big, so you're lucked out there. So I found a bunch of them, Brittany, in Jacksonville, Tennessee. Oh, Memphis. Let me add Memphis to that. Okay, let me add Memphis to that. Memphis, Tennessee. Okay, I'm finding it out now. Just hang with me. Hmm. Yeah, CPS is definitely corrupt. They're just strictly for the money. Remember, it's $80 billion a year they need to feed. I agree, JAM. I agree. I agree. Well, I'm still working. Now I lost the page. I was looking for a pro bono attorney here. Hold on. Hmm. Well, hmm. I'm still looking for that pro bono attorney here. Okay. Um, there's the Jackson. There's the Justina law firm. www.justia.com will help you out there with a pro bono. Um, there's another attorney called Lannis Carnis in Jackson office there. Memphis Legal Aid, pro bono opportunities, the Calabasas Bar Association. Um, you can find all this. All I have to do. Let me copy what I want you to put this in your. Okay, I'm going to put this in the chat for you here. This is what you need to word it so that you could find it. So there are pro bono attorneys there in Memphis and Jackson, Tennessee. You just got to find it there. And that's going to go to all my rooms. I have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 rooms that people come through to listen. So it's all mixed in there. So if that helps you out, and that is for, let me see, who's that for? That's for Brittany McLean. You can find help. It just takes time. It's not overnight. It may take you 40 hours to look for an attorney, but they're out there. They're out there. Now, I had to sell my home after I worked hard for 40 years to get it, to get enough money to hire an attorney. I had to sell my home, and that was a hard pill to swallow. So I know how all your parents are hurting for money. I've been there. I was laid off in the year 2010 through no fault of my own. And for many years, it was hard for me to find a job. And I found one. And then less and less work given to me. Then I was laid off. So okay. Brittany says Memphis attorneys can't represent me. Why can't Memphis attorneys can't represent you? There's no law that says an attorney from Memphis can't represent you. If they are dependency lawyers and they've passed the bar exam and they have a license, they can represent you. I know, I'm trying to help you, Brittany. You're going to have to call a lot of them. And you've been looking for over a year now. Wow. Long time. Brittany, I want you to call in to Mr. Davis. He has a consultation for 30 minutes for $60. He's at 888-888-4582. He'll help you. He will help you find a way for you to get an attorney in Memphis, okay? Or Jacksonville. Or Jackson. I'm sorry, Jackson. Yeah, I agree with you, Natalie, that the law library, the Los Angeles Law Library, will help you too. JH says their purpose is making children with loving parents orphanage, and the Lord will destroy them. Yes, I'm sorry to hear that, JH. They just told me they were too far and not able to. Well, my attorney, of course, you pay him, he'll come out to Tennessee. Can't even afford to eat now that this has happened. I know the feeling. I've been there. I've run out of money. I've been homeless. I lived in my car, my RX-7, for a couple months, and I've ended up in the hospital because you have to be horizontal. In an RX-7, you can't be horizontal. So I understand. I know how you're frustrated there, and it's the hardest thing to do is get an attorney. There's no question about it. But there are attorneys out there. There are attorneys out there. So, you're homeless now. I'm so sorry, Brittany. Oh, wow. Yes, they will lose your job. Oh, God, you're in such hard shape there. I want to help you any way I can. You try to save for food. I know, Natalie, it's hard. I mean, I was at the grocery store today and I was able to get 4 meals for $6.50. That's chicken drumsticks. Just buy one package, the other one free, and they were marked down because of the date. So I'm going to freeze them, and there are 12 drumsticks, and I have 3 people, so 3 into 12, 3 into 6 is 2, so each person will have 2 drumsticks. I have bags of rice from the church, so I know that. I'm feeding my family. I even found tri-tip for $3.67 a pound. I got over 2 pounds of tri-tip for $10. It was marked down, and so that'd be two meals, $5 a meal there. So there, it is the hardest thing to do. California is the most highest price there. You're paying, $5 for milk. Orange juice is ridiculous, but I found pink lemonade for $1.99 a half gallon, because the frozen stuff is already over $3, and orange juice is $7.50 a gallon. It's ridiculous what you're going through. So I know how hard it is there. Faye, I'm sorry, I forgot to contact you, tell you I was live. If you cut your chicken breast in halves, you can stretch it. Yes, I agree. I agree. And Natalie says buying Bratwurst liver is cheap and liver beef is cheap. I did not know liver is cheap. I thought it was expensive. Here, McDonald's, a meal is $13. Yes, I agree. It's $13 for a combo meal. A drink, fries, and a sandwich is $13. Yes. And in California, they're paying McDonald's workers $20 an hour to work at McDonald's. So that's why we have everybody from South America come up here, and they are getting that. They're getting it there. Brittany said they tried to close my case and terminate my rights. And lies. Well, don't let them close your case. Keep it open. Appeal and appeal and appeal. But anyway, Faye is from Richmond, Kentucky, and I'm glad that she joined us. Faye, we have a lot of interesting people in this room, and I'm trying to help them in here. And JH says, good times, Brittany, and your family be strong and raise God with help, and you family and parents to help you and your God. Yeah, I know it's crazy, Faye. I have until June 13th to fight this. What happens after June 13th? What happens, June 11th? Oh, July 11th. What happens after July 11th? What happens after July 11th? For some of you realize I started the show late, and it looks like by my clock here about 10 minutes late. So our show is going to be, it started about a half an hour late there, I guess. So I apologize if I'm keeping some of you up late. But I've talked about rule 1, get an attorney. It's just like a doctor. Are you going to do open heart surgery yourself? Are you going to cup open your chest? Are you going to have a plumber? Or you're going to have a mechanic work on your chest? No, you're going to get a doctor. Same thing goes for CPS. You need a professional dependency attorney, someone knows how to fight CPS. And it costs money. I'm sorry, so do doctors too. Yeah, right. JH, you have to appeal. Never accept anything. Never sign anything off. Be very careful doing that. Now, my rule number 2 is you got to have a notebook to keep track of everything. And I recommend a 6-inch thick notebook, 3-ring binder, and stuff it full of college rule notebook paper, and use subject dividers. And one of the most important section in it will be your incident. You got to keep track of all your incidents. The date and the time goes on the first line, the location, and the people involved. And the second line is what the incident was about. You met at the social service office, or they came to your home. Where the incident's about, you write that. And the last thing on there, you write the outcome. How did it end? You may not know, and maybe still open for some time, but you do that and skip your incidents. Not if you appeal, not if you appeal or you get a good attorney that knows how to fight CPS. You just got to be a fighter. I had to fight for 3 years to get my boys back. I didn't get an attorney at first, but I got an attorney. And my paperwork was all over the place. So it's important that you have your paper organized. Other tabs could be information section where you put down all places that you found, websites, phone numbers of people and stuff. Another section could be all your reports, such as your parenting classes, your program classes, anger management. It could be also your seeing a therapist or your drug reports, those kinds of things. You want to have a section for that. And then you want to put all your correspondence you have from the court. So that'd be your court paperwork, and you can put hole punches in there. You need to keep all this organized in the notebook and be as organized as you can, because a year from now or 2 years from now, you'll need to look back and you can't remember everything. Yes, it's allegations. Yes, it's just allegations. You can always do appeals. Don't be afraid to do appeals. And you can find a new job. That's encouraging. Thank you, JH. Well, rule number 2 was the paperwork. Rule 1 was to get to attorney. Now, rule 3 is that you say no to social workers. You don't let them in your home. You don't let police in your home. You don't let them search your home. You don't let them take your children from your home. Also, when you go to the hospital, you don't let them take your children at the hospital. If you have to take your kids late at night because they need help or they got a cut wound or stuff like that, you address the medical problem. But if you don't want to do what they're suggesting, you can go seek another doctor. You can go see a pediatrician. But caseworkers work there and they're going to try to take your children. They have to have a court order. Same thing with police. They have to have a court order, a warrant before they take your children. They have to have a warrant before they come in your home. And you don't have to talk to them. It's yes, no answers. Yes, no answers. Don't say anything because they use it against you. And you will fight. You want your children. You love your children. So you don't want to give up. So, try to say yes, no answers. And an easy way to get away from a policeman or a social worker is say you want to speak to your attorney about your rights before you talk any further. They're obligated to do so. It's your constitutional right to be represented by an attorney through the whole process. So it's your right to do so. So don't let them try to buffalo you or try to sidestep you or kidnap your children or alienate your children. They are bad people. Don't answer the door. And if I could paint you a picture, here's a 24-year-old black man, a veteran in the Air Force. He opened the door and he shot 5 times by a Florida sheriff. And shot 5 times, and he's dead. And he died on FaceTime talking to his girlfriend. It's all about domestic violence that wasn't taking place. The sheriff is in Gainesville, Florida. Look it up, May 3rd. May 3rd. A 24 black man dead for answering the door. So don't think about answering the door. Don't talk to them. Don't let them take you to the hospital. Even if you're pregnant, have a child, don't let them take you. They're going to try to take your child when you're pregnant. All those things you need to work out ahead of time. So don't take them. Don't take them. So I covered the 3 rules there. I mentioned my ICWA, and that stands for the Indian Child Welfare Act. And we have a mom in here, Happy Feet, that's trying to get her kids into the tribe. The ICWA was enacted in 1978 to protect Indian children because for 100 years they were cutting their hairs off and sent them off to schools, and they were constantly told to lose their language, lose their culture, and then they were put into foster care and no chance to be with the parents. So now what it does now, if they are registered by a federal recognized tribe, Chippewa, Crow, Lakota Sioux, Apache, Comanche, the Chumash, the Navajo, the Cherokee, um, any of the Indian tribes, 547 federal recognized tribes, they are placed with with the tribe. And the tribe puts them into families, and families will get the parents back through unification. They're great. They're great, and that's what they want to do. Wow. So I have about a couple minutes left. We're talking about rule number 3. Rule 1 was get an attorney. Rule 2 is to do your paperwork, keep track of it. And rule 3 is to say no and don't let them take your children. They need a warrant to get in your home. Your home's your castle. So be very careful about that. And you're going to find CPS is a nightmare. It's like, you're in Alice in Wonderland. You're in the garden, you fall in the rabbit hole, and now you go through all these rooms that off with your head and you don't know where you're going. So that's what CPS is. They are not your friend. They hate everybody there. They're bad news. Just think of the pink ladies. Or think of the social worker advertising for black children for sale. That's wrong. That's wrong. That is wrong there. So I've talked about the ICWA, the 3-8 motion, which is a motion to have a hearing before the judge because you got some new information. You completed your classes, your parenting classes, or there's something else left out. What it does is forces the judge in 30 days to have a hearing. You got to make sure all parties are served the 3-8 motion. And in California, it's called the 3-8. Other states, it has different names. But it's a motion where you request a hearing with the judge to present new evidence, to show new evidence. And so it's important that you tell your attorney you want a 3-8 motion filed. And so that's another thing. I wish I had more time with the topics. I try to help you answer all your questions. I want to thank you all for calling in. Natalie from West Hollywood, you're great. J&H, I think you're from Riverside County, San Bernardino, Riverside. I want to welcome, thank you for coming. You're new. Brittany McCain is from Tennessee. She's from Jackson, Tennessee. I want to appreciate, we have Faye, who's in here numerous times, a wonderful mother who has a child that she's been trying to fight CPS on, and she's from Richmond, Kentucky. Let me see who else we have in here. Let me see here. Happy Feet. Oh boy, I just remembered you're from Happy Feet. You just told me where you're from. Happy Feet. Happy Feet is from Arizona. That's right. That's right. And Peggy, I don't know where you're from. Oh, you're from Florida. Peggy was from Florida, and she talked, and that was great. And we had Happy Feet, and who else we had here? We had Lee James from Pennsylvania, Pocono Mountains. I appreciate you there and sharing your story. Lee Jamie. And she's had a bad case. And who else we had in here that I forgot? Natalie, we've talked about her from West Hollywood, West Hollywood in California. John Doe. Yeah, we don't know where John Doe's from or Lori. But thank you all. God bless you all. I'll see you tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. This is Bob Pace telling you to keep fighting for your kids and signing off. God bless you all.